Hello and welcome everybody. Today I am going to do a video on how to get the invincible mount and the most efficient way to do that. This isn't really just exclusive to the invincible mount. You can do this with pretty much any of the Wrath of the Lich King and above raids. You do need to be able to switch between heroic and normal, so I don't believe that works for the Black Temple, Burning Crusade. So this is the mount, Invincible, and it goes pretty cool with any sort of like teal or blue transmogs, depending on what it is that you want to have this for. So this is Invincible, got the wings there, and where you're going to want to start is actually in Dalaran. You have the portal for portal to Vale of Eternal Blossoms. As far as I know, this is the fastest way to reach Northrend, but I know if you have the Argent Crusader's Tabard or anything similar to that, you can quick teleport to Icecrown. So the idea is you want to get to Icecrown Citadel as fast as possible, and that's what really works for this method. And we're just waiting on my screen to load here. Okay, so now we're at the Vale of Eternal Blossoms. We're going to just go ahead and run up to the portal room up here. Okay, so here we have the portal for Old Dalaran, and that's what's going to kind of separate it from most of the other areas, because I don't know of any other area in the game that's going to take you back to Old Dalaran. So your options are to fly in at this port down here, or on the other side of the Lich King here, in Howling Ford there's another little fly-in zone. So those are two areas, or the Argent Tournament Grounds, like I said, the Argent Crusader's Tabard. That'll take you directly there. So these are the fastest routes, or maybe not necessarily the fastest routes, but this right here will get you to Old Dalaran pretty quickly and really help you with this farming method. I am invisible right now. Wonderful. Okay. So you want to start flying towards the big tower. That's the quick way to Icecrown. So while you're on your way there, this is a good time to check. You want to have this set to heroic, and you also want to have this set to 25 player. What that's going to do is put you in like the original lockout, and when we come back here on our alts, we're going to change that up a little bit, and then that will create separate lockouts for each character, but you won't have to run all of the previous bosses up till the Lich King. That's a nice little way to skip through Icecrown unless you're trying to get any of the drops and sell them. I understand that can be an efficient way of getting gold. And here's where I'm going to cut off the video, and I will see you in just a moment. Okay, so I was actually planning on just bringing up the video once I finished off Sindragosa, but I felt this one was actually worth mentioning. So if you're not a healer and you reach this fight, the whole purpose of this fight is that she needs to get healed up to 100%, but that's kind of difficult to do if you don't have healing abilities. So really the only objective of this fight here, if you want to bypass it, which is really the only thing you can do if you don't have abilities to heal, you just need to keep killing the ads that come out until you'll see these little red dots that pop up and will eventually become portals. I'm just going to kill through the ads here, which at this point all of the damage is menial. It's not anything that's going to really kill you. So here you go. Here's the red dots that pop up. And these are going to turn into portals. So any second now. Come on. There we go. Okay. And there you go. That's the fight. So that's the way of bypassing it. And then you immediately want to book it for this room, which has an elevator shaft. Otherwise, the fight will reset, and you'll have to do that again. So that was something I felt was worth mentioning. If you've never run this solo before, and you're trying to bypass the Syndragosa fight, or the Valritha Dreamwalker fight. Sorry. Okay, and this is where I'm going to pick up recording again. I've just defeated Syndragosa, and now all I have left, which you can go to O, then hit raid info, and you can see here the bosses that I have left on 25 player heroic are Valritha and the Lich King, which we're not really going to worry about Valritha. So right now we want to just make sure that on the main character that we ran Icecrown Citadel with, we're leaving the Lich King alive. So we'll just go ahead and do a pre-made group. Go to custom, and I do ICC. Usually just say don't join, just so that way I don't have a whole bunch of people applying to the group. Oh, there we go. Okay, so at this point, if you want, you can go really wherever you want. Actually, I don't want to go to the Vindicar. I'm going to go to Dalaran for right now. And as soon as this screen loads, we'll go ahead and switch characters. Here's the point where you're going to pick the character that's going to do the Lich King kill. So for the sake of the video, I'll go ahead and switch over to my mage. At this point now, we're going to go back to pre-made groups, hit custom, find a group, and what it usually does is bumps your group that you set up to the top, and we're going to go ahead sign up for that, and we're going to switch back to join the group, which actually the longest part of this is just this initial setup with your mule character and the first character that's going to run it, because after this you can kind of just pass the torch between your alts, and I'll show you what I mean in just a moment here. So now we'll pull up our invitees, if my screen will stay still for just a second. I picked a really bad spot in Dalaran. Okay, so there we go. We're going to invite our alt, that's my mage there. So I'm going to switch back over now. Okay, then we go ahead, accept the invitation from your main. Mages are a good class to use for this, at least just for one of them, because they do have the option to teleport directly to Dalaran, the Northrend version. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. You don't need to, or you don't want to remove the mule character. Eventually I'm going to get leadership here. It's going to give me group leadership. And you don't want to boot the person out, because it'll actually try to remove you from the raid if you do that. So it's best just to leave your mule character in there. It's not going to affect anything. The first couple times that I tried doing this, I actually removed the character and then I fucked things up. So it's better just to leave them there, and it's not going to hurt anything. So now that we're in Old Dalaran, we'll go ahead and start flying back towards Icecrown Citadel. Usually along the way, that's when you'll see leadership switch over to you, and then you can do, okay, there we go. You are now the group leader. So before we had set the difficulty to heroic and 25 player for the mount. We want to switch this over to normal before we walk into the raid. This is probably the most important part, because if you don't do this, it's actually going to keep you on the same lockout, and when you kill the Lich King, it's going to do it for the mule character as well. So you're not going to have the separate lockouts. Don't ask me, I don't really understand the way that this works. I just know that it works, and this is how I ended up getting invincible. So you'll just go ahead and walk right in. You can tell it's normal because it doesn't have that big floating skull, that big angry skull there. And this is the message you're going to be prompted with as soon as you walk in. You're going to get the, if you want to accept this. And yes, you do want to accept it. Now it's going to give you the option to switch over to heroic. So now that we're inside, we're going to switch over to heroic. It is 25 player, and it's going to give you another load screen, and you'll hit accept again. So from here, the fastest way is to just go ahead and use the teleporter up to the upper spire. And if you've never been to Icecrown Citadel before, you know, it's pretty cool. I'd say take your time, walk through, and just, you know, really get yourself acclimated with each boss. I think it's, you know, probably one of the most historically strong raids of WoW, but that's just one man's opinion. So from here, we're going to sit through probably like a minute-long RP thing. And then once their conversation ends, that's when the fight starts. Probably the biggest thing that you want to watch out for during this fight, and this is something that I don't know if it's just exclusive to Heroic 25 or just Heroic in general, but he'll throw down something called a shadow trap, and it'll usually land right around under your feet. You'll see it's kind of like, it kind of has some ribbons coming out of it. You're going to want to make sure that you step out of that, because it's really the only thing at this point at level 110 that's going to kill you. It doesn't matter what level you are, it just punch you right off the edge. So you want to make sure that you're watching out for that. Or you might just kill him really fast and that'll never happen, but it's a possibility. Okay, so now he is actually dead. We looted him, and what we want to do next is go ahead and hearth. I would recommend setting your hearthstone to the shrine if you can. It's just the fastest way to get all of your alts in and out of Icecrown Citadel. Try and give yourself you know, as quick bursts as you can. Just try and get through Icecrown Citadel, you know, narrow it down to just a couple minutes. If I've heard people say before that, you know, switching between these loadout screens, it's like, oh yeah, I'd rather just run Icecrown Citadel. It's like, no, not really though. You know, it's probably a 15-20 minute run, and the 2 minutes of load screens that you have to deal with, I mean, you're saving yourself so much time. So we're just going to go ahead. I want to do this a couple times for you, just so that way you can really get the hang of what it is that we're doing here. So as you've seen, we've killed him on 25 heroic. we switched over to another character that's gonna kill the Lich King in 25 heroic. So the nice part is you don't have to go back to your main to actually do the setup for all of this again. You can just do this and see, there it is. Icecrown Citadel, don't join. Okay, we'll sign up, log out, and we'll start this process all over again. At this point, you can kind of get the idea of what it is that we're doing here. We're just, switching out the lockout each time. And I'm the group leader again, so if this will actually load. Okay, so we'll go ahead, invite the paladin again, log out, and then there we go. We accept, and the whole process starts over again. I don't know if, yeah, I actually do have it set to Summer's Rest, so we'll just go ahead. I mean, the portal's right there, but maybe you're not always parked right next to the portal, so it's a good idea to have your heart set for the shrine. Now, normally, if you have a fast running computer and you're not like me where you're stuck in load screens with all of this for like, I don't know, like 5 minutes, it's really only because I have the video running in the background. Normally it's not this terrible, but you'll get leadership somewhere along the way in your flight over to Icecrown Citadel. And again, we want to go ahead, set this back to normal. Normal 25 is what you want to have it to when you go in. And almost there. You'll occasionally get some smartasses or realm hoppers that try to join the group, but I prefer to just, not have anybody else interfere with what it is that I'm trying to do when I'm doing this. Again, there's no big glowy skull, so we know it's good to run in. Go ahead, jump on in the instance. And then we go ahead and hit accept. Grade difficulty heroic. And I promise you're gonna have to run this a few times to see the mount drop. So this is gonna become second nature. You're gonna just get used to switching it to normal, converting over to heroic once you're inside. Teleport to Upper Spire. And if you're curious as to what character you should use as a mule, the character that you have start all of this, I guess it doesn't really matter all that much unless you want like transmogs or anything. Then you might want to target something specific. I just want to show you something here real fast. We have the raid info, and if you notice, it still shows the Lich King as available. So that's how you know that that this whole thing is working. If you check that raid info, it'll show that he's still alive and is lootable for this character. But if you want to target any specific item, that might be the character you want to use for a mule, since they'll be the ones to actually get the full run through, get all the gear from the run. Or you know, if you have a character that's able to run faster than another, maybe pick the fastest one so that way you can make your initial run as fast as possible each week, and then maybe make your lower characters the ones that are doing the kills for the Lich King. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but we'll go ahead and kill him here. I was hoping he would drop a shadow trap just so that way I could show you what that looks like. And there you go. There's another kill. I also just wanted to show you here real quick what it looks like when he is defeated. If you've never done it before, you can kill him the second that Tyrannus comes out. You don't need to wait for the whole thing to play through. Got a pet here. That's pretty cool. And you'll also get used to the number of clicks if you have your volume up, and if you hear an extra click, usually your heart drops. You're like, oh man, I think that's the one. But occasionally you'll get the pet. There's all sorts of different little pets that he drops, so it can be deceiving. So once you finish this on all of your alts, I'm not going to go through all my alts. You kind of get the idea here. You can go back to your main character. So in this case, I'm going to go back to my warrior, and you can actually do the kill after all of your alts have done the kill. So however many characters at a high enough level to kill the Lich King by themselves, that's how many opportunities or how many rolls that you're going to have to get invincible. So if you don't have a lot of high level alts, now is a good time to try and do that for probably more reason than one. But it's not too difficult. I think it'll probably take you a few runs. I think it took me maybe 8 rounds of doing this with 8 alts. So you'll get the hang of it, and that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions or comments, suggestions, anything of the sort, leave it in the comments below. Give me a like or a subscribe if you want to see more from my channel. Thank you and take care.